The black family was strong after slavery. In fact, if you look up Black Wall Street or Tulsa, if you look up these history, black people had the community set up for them. What happened? White people got jealous and they decided to destroy these things. And so when you start to see a pattern, after the destruction, they started to see how black people can be very, very powerful, and they didn't want that. They came up with ways to destroy the black community. How? They flooded a lot of drugs in the black community in the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that, right? And of course, black people got hooked on this. And then what did it do? They cracked down on these black folks and then they put them in prison. Now you have a generation of kids growing up without a father. Now you start to see a pattern here. The black community was destroyed deliberately, and they want to keep it that way for a very specific reason. So when I started to see these, when I started to learn these, I was like, okay, now things are starting to make sense. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So apparently the Hodge twin, they went a little too far, so much so that even their own followers are saying, yo, what is wrong with you? This is gonna be O'Shea Duke Jackson. Hodge twin finally get what they deserve. Let's hear it.
September 22nd, 2025, Auburn Preach released a video called Myron and Hodge Twins Reminded They Aren't White. And the reason why Myron and the Hodge twins were mentioned in the first place is because of their extreme criticism of the black community. For this particular video, I won't be focusing on Myron, but I will be focusing on the Hodge twins. The Hodge twins have been on YouTube for a long time. I don't know if they are completely mixed race, but as you can see, they are twins, and they started off as a comedy duo, and as they've gotten older, they are like, I would say far right. I won't say as far right as like Nick Fuentes, but they are far right. They criticize Israel a lot. They don't really like gays so much. And of course, the pedigree is attacking the black community. All right. Now, I'm going to get.
So, yeah, in conclusion, if I want to be big, if I want to be somebody who is out there, you know, if I want to get a lot of white people on my side, all I have to do is really like criticize black people. And I can say a lot of stuff about us. I made some videos in the past criticizing our action. Don't get me wrong. I see the stuff that we do. But then at the same time, I understand how we got to where we are, which is why I'm like, okay, I understand how we got to where we are. So in those videos, when I criticize black people, simultaneously, I give advice of how to fix it. Because nobody wakes up one day, especially in the black community, we don't wake up one day and decide to just pick up guns and start shooting each other. Nope, it was programming. It got to where it is for a specific reason. And the truth of the matter is, it's still going today, which is why it doesn't look like anything is being fixed in the black community.
To Auburn Preacher's video later in this particular situation, because what happened is the Hodge twins felt that Auburn Preacher's video of them was unwarranted because they said this.
I'm not anti-black. I'm you know what, but I'm not anti-black. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm anti-black. I'm hard on black people. Yeah. Y'all need some criticism. Yeah. Seriously.
And it's the truth, like genuinely, like based off of the way we act, I'm not gonna lie to you, we definitely need some criticism because that's how you fix it. You have to find a problem and, you know, from there go on. And a lot of black people seem to be extremely oblivious of the problems that we have in the black community.
And, you know, I am prejudiced, but everybody's prejudiced. Yeah. I just put my prejudice out there because I want black people to do better. We can do better. Yeah, yeah. It's not wrong when having a bias or being prejudiced. It's only wrong when you use your biases and your prejudices to discriminate against people. Belittle people, denigrate them. I'm not denigrating people simply because of the color of their skin. Yeah. I'm denigrating these people because of the way they behave.
Now, this is a typical black conservative talking point, especially on the far right. Listen, guys, we are here to not necessarily talk about a race of people, but we're only criticizing how they behave.
Stop the cap.
So we're not necessarily dealing with race. We're dealing with behavior. But in the past, the Hodge twins talk about race in great detail.
To be honest, I don't want to live in the United States of America if it's not majority white.
If you take a second and you step back, if these...
You see what I mean, bro? Oh, God, that's just... That is just diabolical, bro. I gotta admit, I have to admit, bro. When you say shit like that, it's like, okay, you are definitely an Uncle Ruckus, bro. Like, you might as well just call us baboons or something like that, because holy shit.
Idiots who profess conservative values are really wanting a conservative country. They think it only happens if it remains majority white. First off, there's a huge segment of the white population that...
All right, let's see this. Okay, in general, how could you describe your political viewpoint now of you as a law citizen? Okay, very liberal. And then moderate, conservative, very conservative, not sure. Interesting. Are these like percentages? Like, what am I looking at here, bro?
votes very liberally. 1. 2. Immigrants, by and large, are more conservative than whites in terms of their values and their politics. Agree or disagree?
Well, I'm just saying. Well, the reason I have to thought about that is because when my parents came here, all of a sudden they became Democrats, and you know, like as immigrant who came to the United States, every single immigrant that I know for some reason just ends up being a Democrat, and that's why I kind of have to think about it. And I'm like, debatable.
I tend to agree.
The reason why a lot of immigrants who are conservative still vote liberal is not because they love everything they say.
Okay, there you go. Now it makes sense.
It's just because they want to be included.
But these guys are so buck broken. They're so obsessed with trying to appeal to whiteness that they'll just say the goofiest shit even if it means their own erasure. Are you stupid?
You're a second-class citizen, and
That's what they want. The benefit of being on YouTube and being consistent for the last 9 years is you get to observe the landscape change. You get to observe the trends, culture change. You see the content change.
So they're saying that we wouldn't even want to be here in America if it's not majority white. So why is that? Is it because white people are the only people in America that behave in the right way? Is it that somebody who's non-white doesn't know how to act or know how to behave? Surely there are countries that are non-white around the world that show some evidence of progress. So there you're talking about your actual preference, which is you'd rather be amongst all white groups, regardless if other groups show that they're functional, that they're beneficial, that they can do things that humans can do.
See, this is the way I look at things, okay? This is why it's extremely crucial to read history and try to understand how we got to where we are today. For some reason, people make it seem like black people just got up one day and decided to just become extremely violent when that's not really the case. First of all, I just want to go ahead and say every single race in this world brought benefit to this world one way or another. That's a fact. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. 2, the reason why there's a lot of black people in the position that they are, especially here in the United States, I'm not going to talk about the whole world, but especially here in the United States, is because of programming, music, movies. You know what I mean? Poor neighborhood. And then you may say, well, why haven't they done anything about that? Well, it's simply because for some reason, it's like we've become too comfortable in that position. And so we want to leave, but at the same time, we don't want to leave. You know what I'm saying? Although we see that there's a major problem in the black community, yet we still act in ways that doesn't change that. And I genuinely believe that we get this idea from music. For example, Cardi B. This girl is pregnant. She's recently promoting her new song. And this girl is out there wearing shirts where you can pretty much make out the nipple. Like I can't show you guys that here because, it might get taken down. I'm not sure. But this is what's out there in public. And then the black girls are seeing this and they think this is okay. She is literally while pregnant, by the way. Keep that in mind. She's pregnant. She is out there shaking her butt in front of millions of people. And black girls are seeing this. And in their mind, Cardi B is my idol. I want to be just like her. She's doing this in public. This is cool. I want to do it in public. I want to dress just... You see where I'm coming now? You see where I'm coming with this? Same thing applies to the men. You got a lot of guys who are from the hood who literally rap about gunning each other down and celebrating it. And then the young kids are watching this. And on top of that, we have, the black community have a lot of kids who grew up without a father. And the father is a crucial part in a kid growing up in a righteous way, I would say. But without a father being around and mothers not really being able to control the kids that well, the only place that they can return to is, guess what? Music, movies, and they are seeing all these images being bombarded to them. And as they grow up with this idea, they assume that this is okay. We could fix our problem. We just have to find out where the problem is coming from. And I've just given you one, which is what? Music. We can start there. Clean up the music, get these women to be dressing up in a ways that is appropriate for everybody, and you'll start seeing a lot of changes.
But then let's go to the whole part about the fact that they said they don't denigrate blacks. No, we're not sellouts. We don't come on our platform denigrating anybody because they're black. We only denigrate or bash people or even criticize people if they are behaving wrongly. Okay, well, how do you explain this particular post? On September 15th, the Hodge twins posted this. It's a blessing the wasn't black because there wouldn't have been a father to turn him in.
Boy, y'all sit your stupid ass down. Who the think you is?
So I want to talk about that and how that is denigrating towards black. So basically, black people had nothing to do with it. Single motherhood or single fatherhood in the black community is not on trial here. But you see, the Hodge twins want to cater to that audience that will find something like this funny because those people are sick. And even though it wasn't a black person that killed it, let's still make fun of the blacks anyway because, oh yes, to make ourselves feel better that a white guy killed Charlie Kirk, you know what? Their single mothers are typically the ones that create things like this, even though he was killed in Utah. But see, this is unwarranted and it's unnecessary. But these are the same.
And that's also one thing that we need to understand is that although, yes, a lot of the people who are incarcerated, a lot of them do come from single mother home, and a lot of the delinquents out there do come from single mother home. Simultaneously, there are some guys who come from single mother home and they don't act that way. I just want to go ahead and put that out there. The probability of that happening is just very, very low with the father around. A father has a better chance of raising kids than a single mother does. This is statistically proven. This is not my word. This is literally like, you can just easily Google that.
Same guys that turn around and say, we don't denigrate blacks. No, we only deal with behavior. We deal with behavior. We don't denigrate blacks. And then let me tell you how bad it was. People jumped in the comments and didn't like the fact that you did it. And you never removed the post. You never apologized to the black community for what you did. Just continue to have it up there. It's still up there right now. Look at what this person says. Really? This is the message y'all want to send? Come on, guy. Another person says, man, I know some black people ain't crap, but why do y'all down black folks so much? I was a fan of Charlie, by the way. Stop the show. Now, Daryl Dugas is a guy who likes Charlie Kirk. But
I ain't gonna lie, I've heard some shit about Charlie Kirk and I'm like, yo, he really said that? Like, shit. This dude was just diabolical, bro.
you guys have crossed over into a point where even he can't defend you.
Damn.
Like, you want to attack blacks so much that even the fans of you are like, yo, that's low. Dulce goes, Dulce and Maria, you guys are black too. On top of it, married Mexicans. Woo! That's right, guys. The same dudes who want to talk about the black community all day are not even married to black women. They're married to Hispanics. Stop with the stereotypes. This is why America is suffering. Both sides are ruthless. This is a person that has a Hispanic last name, so probably not even a black person. Redskin says that's just unnecessary, even if it's statistically true. It's not productive. Stop the show. So somebody's saying, even if what you're saying is true, it doesn't relate to the murder of Charlie Kirk. It's also hurtful to many of the fatherless children out there. I'm just thinking to the 12, 13, 14-year-olds that might see that. And this person is right, because again, you're denigrating black people for something that they didn't do. So when they do something that's wrong, you're even on it more. If they don't do something, anything to make your white audience feel good. Look at this one. This is trash. Not okay. This is a white person. Amber Scott, this is trash. Not okay.
All right, first of all, Amber Scott. Okay, most likely that's her right there. But you gotta understand, on X, people like to use a lot of fake pictures. So, you know, that could be a fake picture with a fake name. That could be a literal black dude behind that picture. Just saying. But most likely she's white.
Okay, it gets worse. Stop. Okay? This person says, only you guys can get away with posting this meme. I do appreciate your humor though. Okay, so let's stop the show. Only you guys? What does that mean? Because white people could never post that, but because you're black or you're half black and half white, you can denigrate your own community at the behest of the whites, and it's okay. Thank you for the laugh. The other person says, shaking my head, this is unnecessary. And that person doesn't even look like they're black, maybe like Asian. You have all these people who are witnessing what you're doing, like basically saying you're denigrating blacks. It gets worse. Look at this. Whenever you see them reacting to stuff, if it's not gays or white liberals or gays, you never hear them talking about anything that's to do with whites, like white shootings, white on white crime, nothing. Black fatigue strikes again in Popeyes. This is the kind of content they do. Anything that's negative towards blacks will be in their playlist. So this is exactly why Auburn Preach got on their behinds in the first place. And so when Auburn Preach started talking about the Hodge twins, he started breaking it down.
If you take a second and you step back, if these idiots who profess conservative values are really wanting a conservative country, they think it only happens if it remains majority white. First off, there's a huge segment of the white population that votes very liberally. 1. 2, immigrants, by and large, are more conservative than whites in terms of their values and their politics. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I tend to agree.
The reason why a lot of immigrants who are conservative still vote liberal is not because they love everything they say.
It's just because they want to be included.
But these guys are so buck broken. They're so obsessed with trying to appeal to whiteness that they'll just say the goofiest shit even if it means their own erasure. Are you stupid?
You're a second-class citizen in that space.
That's what they want. The benefit of being on YouTube and being consistent for the last 9 years is you get to observe the landscape change. You get to observe the trends, culture change. You see the content change.
A lot of people that are foreigners are more conservative. So white people also vote liberal. So you're saying that.
Yeah, that's the truth, right? Like, 'cause, like I said, when my parents, when they came here, for some reason, they leaned liberal. And I never really understood why. I just went along with it. But then as I started learning, and I'm like, dude, the whole liberal, like, it's like it's designed to keep poor people down. It's designed to keep black people down. And yet we have people just voting for this constantly. And then it hit me. They have no idea what the heck is going on in politics. Like, absolutely no idea. And Abba is right. The only reason they vote liberal is because they want to fit in. That is it.
You want to be in a country with more whites, it's not really making.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not a liberal, nor am I a conservative. In my personal opinion, I found both of them to be idiots. Okay? They're both inconsistent. Neither one of them really benefit this country because ultimately there's one on top who really makes the decisions. Let's be quite honest.
Sense because you're a conservative and most whites are liberals. But he's also saying that you talking like this erases your own self. It makes you a second-class citizen.
True.
And shout out to Abba, he's a genius. Like, he has the best commentary on YouTube. Like, way better than me for most issues. I would say his commentary is like A+. He's the best person that does commentary that I've ever seen. All right.
My boy, enough glazing already, bruh. God damn. We get it. He's good. But she go ahead and just, wipe him mouth a little bit, huh?
And he just puts things in like so good of a perspective. I couldn't even have said it better myself.
He's still
I was
going.
into stand-up comedy, doing the arts, and so I was going to a lot of events, and I was in a lot of left-leaning spaces. And at that time, there was a lot of weirdness around blackness in left-leaning spaces because the way that they were patronizing, the way that they would belittle you with a lot of their, very soft-spoken racism, right? And when I spoke out about against this stuff, You know, I got labeled a right-winger oftentimes. Never bothered me, because I knew in my heart of hearts, I don't look at black women and say bad things. I don't look at my nieces and nephews and don't go out of my way to make sure that they celebrate their blackness. I know my values, so I'm okay. But I did recognize that over time, after I did a lot of this repeated content, the kind of people that would be drawn to it would be people who would often say horrible things about black people in general.
And in this clip, Abba talks about a time in his life where he was in the industry and, you know, he felt that people were not treating blacks fairly. And so he started making content. And so what ended up happening was people started calling him a right winger. And so he had to catch himself because the content that he was making might seem that he was trying to hold black people accountable. But what happened is all these other people started to comment and started to show their frustrations with blacks. And that could have been blacks themselves or non-blacks, right? So
True. Look, I made a video in the past, all right? And it was about how society is pretty much, you know, getting tired of the problems that black are causing out there. And a lot of the comment that I was seeing on there, yeah, I was like, okay. A lot of people really don't like black people. And yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I still make video about black people, but it wasn't the type of video that's like pretty much putting black people down. Rather, it's just pointing out, hey, this is what we have. This is what we're doing. This is what the problem is. Here's how we can solve it. Here's a solution to these problems. I just wanted to put some good advice out there, you know? And well, I didn't see as much comment. Why? Because I point out the obvious. I point out the problem that we have, and I give a solution for it. And for some reason, it's like they don't want to give you a solution for it. They just want to go ahead and just for you to point out the evil that we do. And then when you start pointing out the solution, they don't like that. Why? Because they want to look at somebody and be like, I'm better than this person. Why? Because they do this, this, and this, and that. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what I started seeing.
he understood it. But wait, there's more.
And I started looking at it very, very differently because sometimes you cannot be part of a movement, but if you operate online in the same way that that movement does, then you might as well just be another agent for them.
You're a contributor.
He says also this. Once you start to make this content, even if you're not in their white supremacist group, you are pushing their own narratives. You're pushing the narratives, okay? Like that's what you're doing, even if you're not in the group or not, okay? But then he talks about something that's important.
A lot of these people who do this kind of content, you'll notice a very particular trend. You know, black people when I was growing up treated me badly. Black women rejected me. It's a lot of that stuff. And I personally, this is my own theory, a lot of these guys had negative experiences with black people growing up. And so they go into adulthood and they carry that on. And when it starts to come into their content, it seeps in. And then they get positive reinforcement and like, damn, this is the first time that I can openly say this shit about the people who hurt me when I was a kid and feel rewarded.
He says the people.
Now, this is the thing, okay? Me growing up here in America, I'm going to be honest with you. I've also had some bad experience when it comes to black people. I've been through a drive-by. I didn't let that impact my life. I didn't let that impact the way I think about black people. Why? Simple, because I like history. I learned about black history here in America because I was born in Africa. I learned about black history. I was like, okay, I'm starting to see a trend here. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Because after slavery, one of the examples that I can give is when the black family was strong after slavery. In fact, if you look up Black Wall Street or Tulsa, if you look up these history, black people had the community set up for them. What happened? White people got jealous and they decided to destroy these things. And so when you start to see a pattern, after the destruction, they started to see how black people can be very, very powerful and they didn't want that. They came up with ways to destroy the black community. How? They flooded a lot of drugs in the black community in the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that, right? And of course, black people got hooked on this. And then what did it do? They cracked down on these black folks and then they put them in prison. Now you have a generation of kids growing up without a father. Now you start to see a pattern here. The black community was destroyed deliberately. And they want to keep it that way for a very specific reason. So when I started to see these, when I started to learn these, I was like, okay, now things are starting to make sense. The only way forward from here, it's simple. We have to see the problem, recognize the problem, and then figure out what is going on, what is causing this problem. Because kids don't just grow up and then all of a sudden want to be gangsters. Kids don't just grow up and all of a sudden want to pick up gun and start gunning each other down. Something is motivating them to do that. And like I said, music, in my personal opinion, it may not be the right one. Music, in my opinion, is the number one manipulation among Black community. If you have other guesses, prove me wrong in the comment section.
People that talk like Myron or in this case, the Hodge twins, these are people who lived around Black people and got treated very badly, okay? Black women that want to date them, and then basically when they become content creators, they get online and then whites start to give them positive reinforcement, right? And so now it's like, oh, okay, I can be rewarded for sharing my displeasure with Black people. And of course, you can get a lot of money doing this, right? And then while they're reviewing the video, here's what the Hodge twins admit.
Hate and racism I got from other Black people just because I didn't sound like them, just because I didn't carry myself like them, just because I had a different complexion, eye color, and all that. Man, it is crazy how Black people treat me. Yeah. And it was real. It's not, I'm not making it up. It actually happened. I had a couple nights, had a gun put on me. Yeah. I remember I was in boot camp. I think I mentioned this earlier, but
So one of them says they even had guns pulled on them. But wait, there's more.
This Black guy said I wasn't Black, and he was arguing with another white guy, saying, and the white guy said, how come he's not Black, right? Because white people see me, no, that's a Negro, right? But we had our shirts off, and I had been out in the sun, I was beat red. It was July, and it was in South Carolina in boot camp. And it was arguing, said, look, Black people don't turn red in the sun. Y'all turn purple. Right? Yeah. And then the white guy said, aren't you Black? I said, yeah, both my parents are Black. He said, it did, the Black guy said, you ain't got no white people in your family? I said, yeah, I got white people in my family. He said, thank you.
So again, you know, Black people treated me differently because I was light skinned and all that. And you can kind of see where their animosity comes from. But as Abba would go on in the video and discuss, people will make fun of you no matter where you are, all right? I've been in all white countries. I lived in Poland and Europe for 6 years. I've lived in Del Paso Heights. I've lived in Compton, okay? I've went to Black colleges. I went to white colleges. Whoever you're around is gonna be the people that can treat you the best or treat you the worst, all right? And I've been called horrible things by Blacks too, like all sorts of names coming up. You know, your nose is big, African booty skirt, all kind of just mean things. The people who have robbed and broken into our house and done all kind of weird things were Blacks. But that does not take away or make me want to throw away a whole group of people because that happened to me. No, those were just individual incidents. And now here's what happens. When you talk about white people that are racist, the Hodge twins will be the quickest to defend. That's not true. That's not true. Oh no, white people are good. And I want to prove to you how much they can defend white people when they feel like it. Look at this. Charlie Kirk was racist? Oh, okay. So all of a sudden, Charlie Kirk is not racist because you love white people, right? You got to say to keep your text coming in. Here's Erica Kirk. Man, this is powerful, right? Okay. Rest in glory, Charlie Kirk. Okay. We can kiss butts all day when it's Charlie Kirk and the white right. But when we talk about the Blacks, look at this one. One Black transgender, I'll put it like that, versus two white cops. Who wins? All right. So obviously, this is what these guys do. And they think that somebody is stupid and can't see what they're trying to do. But obviously, you guys hate the Black community. You want to see Black people do better, but you have Mexican wives. You don't have anything set up that helps the Black community. You don't go in the Black community. So no, you're doing this for a check. One of you guys even said you're a capitalist. So because you guys don't have any real talent, I mean, I don't really want, respectfully, if you guys were not twins, nobody would care about you. Woo! So what's a lazy diss is to sit up there and basically talk about Blacks all day and get paid. But we all know what time it is. And he's not wrong about you guys because you guys are, in my honest opinion, sellouts. Like there's nothing about you that says the black community or you're in support of it at all. You're against it. You're the same thing as Myron. Like you have podcasts with Nick Fuentes. Like this is the kind of people that you guys are, and you act like you're not that, but you are. Okay? And the moment you guys say something stupid or silly, y'all gonna find out who really don't like y'all. So guys, what do you think is your boy?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely he's not wrong. You know what I mean? The Hodge twin definitely, they understand where the money come from. They know who pays the bill. All right, and it's definitely not the black people. So of course they're gonna cater to the people who pays the bill. With that being said, I just want to go ahead and end it up by saying this, right? If you really want to know, let me go ahead and say this. Sorry. Let me get my thought together here. Black people don't have gun factory. We don't make bullets. And I can probably go as far as saying that we don't have any cocaine, cocaine or any form of hard drugs out there, And on top of that, we don't really own a lot of liquor stores and stuff like that. Like we're not, we don't produce liquor in mass to the point that the amount that we be drinking in the black community. But for some reason, it is like black people can always get their hands on guns. Black people always get their hands on bullets, always get their hands on all kinds of drugs, whether that's alcohol or crack cocaine, weed, you name it. You starting to see where I'm coming from here? We don't own a factory to these places, but for some reason, it is predominant in black communities. When Chinese people, when it comes to the country and they want to open a liquor store, if they say they want to build a liquor store at a black community, oh yeah, they get that. They get that check quick. They get it real quick. But if they want to build a liquor store in a white community, in a suburb, oh God. Let me give you something to think about when you're driving. When you go to a rich white neighborhood and you drive around, think about how long it takes you to find a liquor store compared to a poor neighborhood, whether that's white or black, and see how long it takes you to find a liquor store. That'll tell you why liquor is being promoted in poor neighborhoods. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very long video. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. Don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll catch you guys up later.